This is another one of these levels where actually the key is available right at the beginning. You can see where it is. It's a little small, but still the key is right on this ledge, very, very close to that main, that first elevator when you go in. And so you're going to end up going into the level and coming all the way back out on a different level.
Brian actually did some initial, like, kind of level layouts for this.
Yes.
And that's what got me started in the kind of really double-deckering the game path in here.
And we did that in other places too, but this was like the first where we really did a serious double-decker, different types of kind of challenges on the top and the bottom. And
right. And Hoagie also did on the texture maps for all the NPCs. Kind of, you really unified their kind of visual style in a really good way.
The main problem for our levels, I mean, my goal is to making it not dark, but give it the night sense, and especially like this level is interior, but you still get the night light. So it was pretty difficult for me to do the lighting at first.
Was there? I know we've changed lighting models.
3 times?
3 times. Right. So each time you got to learn the new tricks of the new lights, and then change all those out.
Right. That was kind of difficult at first, learning through the new lighting system. Mm-hmm. But it really helped the visual, since we have the shadow. Most of the game doesn't have the shadow system, so shadow turns to just a black. They cannot make it to the colors, and thanks to our programmers that made it happen.
When you collect the key on this level or any of the other levels, you'll notice that the background kind of completely goes dark, and we kind of go into this letterbox and show you this animation of Sly picking the key, and it's kind of funny. We use this alternate lighting model to darken everything else at this very base level. It was a weird kind of just hack feature I put in to just darken everything. But then you have to say, well, I don't want to darken Sly because he's the one collecting the key. So Sly is actually marked as like, don't darken me, but he's the only thing in the whole game that's marked that way. Oh, and the key is marked as don't darken me. But everything else in the game gets darkened by this alternate lighting model when you collect your keys.
And the idea was going to be that there was going to be invisible lasers all over this area, and you were going to have to spray something into the ahead of you to expose the beams, either smoke or frost or something in front of you. And so it was actually laid out very rectangularly, and there were all these things to jump on, these floating platforms to jump on, and you had to kind of, each time you did a jump, you had to kind of look around you for the invisible lasers and then make your next jump. And as we backed away from the puzzly, slower gameplay, that was the first idea that went away. So then what came?
Well, there was also the idea of, once you got to the rear set of the buoys that floated on the water, that there was a giant fish that was sitting below you.
Oh yeah, the giant fish.
And he was the one that paced you and made you want to move forward faster and get through the level, or otherwise he'd come up and gobble you up.
Yeah, so the giant fish, he got cut. Giant fish got cut.
We definitely learned a thing or two about physics engines in games. How the predictability of something animated over relying on the physics engine to work itself out is usually...
Yeah, the physics engine tends to work well in really clean, isolated situations, or in shrapnel, or in other situations where you want good-looking sort of ambient animation, but not as good for stuff that has to work 100% of the time, super predictably. And then I think environmentally, I think this was one of our first levels that really had a good kind of, I don't know, misty, really rich kind of textured feel to it. You know, the fire on the side, which you can see from outside, and the approach even.
All the, like, the moss hanging off of everything, and just the kind of...
Yeah, a lot of really kind of organic richness in this level, especially back, you know, there was fish and all that stuff. The waters, you know, being space warped and, you know, has some interesting stuff going on, and, you know, all the surface effects that the texture artists put in all really, I think, made this a really good looking level, and one that we kept investing in because it was something that, the surroundings were so appealing that we wanted to make sure we used it in a really constructive way.
Yeah, wisps floating through the air and whatnot, with fire in the background, brought out a great richness in the environment. I remember when I first loaded it into the world after it had just gone through this massive change, and it was just one of the most spectacularly beautiful levels that we had at the time. That it was just exciting to go back and play through it.
Why didn't they keep the giant fish?
So the second approach of the game, this one actually was touched by a lot of people too.
Yeah, originally it was a huge junkyard that you were navigating through.
Yeah.
It was really confusing for the player to know where they needed to go and what was a wall and what wasn't, because everything was equally interesting.
Right.
As it was just piles and piles of trash.
Like some breakables, but some not. It was really sort of dissatisfying to play.
And then it sort of morphed into this mesa thing, primarily to define space that you could and could not walk on. As the player would progress in towards Mesa City, you get more of that kind of abandoned, desolate, not so much junkyard feeling, but ghost town vibe.
Definitely.
As you went from no man-made structures, and then you find a shack, and then you get to like a house, and then a building, and then multiple buildings, and then this sort of subway terminal,
right?
All of which are progressively denser and denser kind of urban images.
So in this level, you've got the stick guy, you've got the dog, the leash dog.
Oh yeah, there's 4 actually that I did in this level. There's the stick guy, there's the card thrower, there's the bulldog on the leash, and there's the jailbird dog.
What do you call you have kind of pet names for all the NPCs?
I have names for him because I hate calling him stick guy and stuff. So.
You don't like stick guy?
I don't like stick guy. I'd rather call him Gorgeous Lou.
Gorgeous Lou?
Gorgeous Lou is the stick guy. The card thrower is Inkspot Jackson. Dalmatian, obviously. The bulldog I never had a name for. Because I think the bulldog was actually... I didn't do the bulldog. I just helped on the animation, but I didn't design. But, and then Polly Shackles is the jailbird dog.
Who has the best idol of any NPC in the game? Trying to gnaw through his chain.
That's pretty good.
Ball and chain.
Very on theme.
Very much.
It's always cool when the NPC is showing you what he's going to be doing to you through his idol, so you get a sense what his weapon will be. Those are always more successful. I thought those guys do it pretty well. Oh, this level features maybe the coolest security setup of them all, where you have that kind of checkerboard on the floor with the floor sensors and the sweeping lasers. And it looks like you're a goner. There is no way in the world anyone could ever get through this. And you can totally get through it, but the thing is, because the security devices have to sense you before they become dangerous, you can practically run through the whole thing and live for it. But you'll be fine. But it looks just overwhelmingly tough. And in a lot of ways, that was our goal in the whole game, was to give the perception of crazy difficulty and make it very doable, so that you got that feeling you had done something exceptional and that Sly was a really exceptional thief.